Quite a remarkable story, isn't it? From Auckland, the Blues, to Ulster, Gloucester, Bristol over in the UK, and then second division in France most recently, and now he has become a Crusader. John Afoa, welcome into the program. So great to have you on. Tell us, first and foremost, how have your Blues mates responded to the news that you debuted for the Crusaders on the weekend?
Oh, to be honest, I've been quite friendly about it. I was expecting a lot of grief. I didn't tell anyone for ages because obviously it was all like last minute. I only told my mum I was flying into New Zealand like the day I got there. Just like obviously because I wasn't too sure what's happening. Got here, and then I was able to run out on Saturday afternoon. So, they've been quite good. I think they're just like it's more so representing anyone that's over 35. I think that's the real key of it. Yeah, the gone of the franchise like rivalry. It's like if you're old, like I'm flying that flag for those boys.
Now, Johnny, you mentioned how old you are, and Nisbo mentioned that you were 39. I'm presuming you've taken the record over from Brad Thorne. Now, we both played with Brad Thorne, and he had a certain way of making sure that he prolonged his career. Dare I say you've gone a different route as far as looking after your body?
Well, it's whatever, horses for courses, isn't it? Like, when he was this athlete, you know what I mean, going to the pool, and he was dragging Owen and his brother Ben to Nando's, or getting chicken. Yeah, for me, it was like, nah, flag that. I'm ready for the chocolate run on a Friday, correct, Saturday. And you know what I mean? And the proof is in the pudding. It works both ways.
Oh, that is so good. How was it to catch up with some of your old teammates? Andy Ellis, Kieran Reid, of course, were there congratulating you. They even sent you messages on Friday saying Crusade on. I think Sam Wylock was the only player in the Crusaders that you actually knew before you came home.
That's it, yeah. It's a strange one to come back, and it was nice to see Andy, rocking that slug on his mustache or on his upper lip. Obviously, he's got no more hair on top, so you got to do what you got to do. And really, you know what I mean, he's looking sharp, all big TV up. But it was funny. I think it's all just a funny story, isn't it? Like I saw plenty after the game, my World Cup roomie, and he just started laughing. You know what I mean? I could hear them laughing too when I ran out. When I was walking in at half time, it was just a big laugh for everyone, which that's what I'm all about.
Now, Johnny, you talked about the story and how people have been loving it. Tell us at what stage last week, or was it the week before, that someone from the Crusaders, I'm presuming Razor, got in touch with you? Because Kirst actually texted me on Saturday and goes, Johnny's playing for the Crusaders today? And I said, no,
I thought they were taking the piss when they told me pre-match. I was like, no, you're lying.
I saw his Instagram at the start of the week. He's enjoying festivities in France. I'm sure of it. How did this all unfold?
Oh, yeah, it was messy, mate. It is one of those stories that I'll be telling, everyone for the next 10 years if I buy a free drink. So obviously we played our semi-final already there, like away at Royal. Obviously, unfortunately lost it. That was season done. So, Saturday night, you do what you do. So I woke up Saturday, feeling reasonably rusty, but, my season was finished. So it was like 30 degrees in France, up in Vannes. And we're very fortunate to have been like a nice place on the harbour. And our president/owner, he owned a restaurant down on the boat. So obviously, come 2 o'clock, everyone's down there having a late lunch, a late drink. And then that's sort of, the doors closed. It's a bit of a lock-in with all the rugby boys. And then wake up like lunchtime Monday, all these missed calls on my phone. I was like, oi, what have I done here? Who have I peed off? Agent going, Razors rang me. They want you to be there. When can you get there? And then I hung up and went back to sleep for an hour because I needed really I was battling with it. And then that was it. Jumped on the plane onto Tuesday night from France, London, Dubai, Sydney, rolled into Christchurch on Thursday afternoon.
When you got that phone call and you decided, yep, I'm coming home, I really want to represent my family again, I really want to come back and have another crack at Super Rugby to finish your career, that was presumably with Joe Moody out injured. Did you know you were actually going to fly in Thursday and then play on Saturday?
Nah, not at all. I'll see what's difficult to I had to see the old kids there back in Auckland, but I talked to them and they were like, okay. But yeah, they were like, oh, look, you're here to hold bags, you're here to cover. We'll just get you ready, get over the jet lag, and then that'll be it. I was like, okay. So I turned up Thursday and I was going through meeting everyone and they're like, oh, do a medical. I was like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, make sure you jump on the bike, make sure you go to the pool tonight. I was like, I don't know why. Like, not like that. And then like sending me all the stuff, all the lineups, all the players. I was like, oh, they're really professional, you know what I mean? Like, they're really making sure everyone's ready to go. So turn up Friday, they're like, oh, because I hadn't met everyone because everyone was gone by the time I got here. Like at the captain's run meeting, they go through the bits and pieces, and they're like, oh, okay, you just want to, you know, put your hands together for Johnny flown over here to be off the squad. Everyone starts clapping, and then Razor's like, you might as well keep clapping because he's debuting tomorrow starting. I was like, amazing. And that was it. A bit of a whirlwind 24 hours, and then I played the next day.
Amazing story.
Unbelievable story. I couldn't help but chuckle there 2 times on Saturday, Johnny. Well, I was smiling, just loving it, but I chuckled a couple of times. You're walking to one line out, and I was presuming Mitch Drummond was actually telling you what was about to happen. You look like you were deep in conversation there, and then just before half-time, I think that jet lag might have just been kicking in when the boys scored that try close to the post. I thought the big ones were getting taken.
Oh, mate, I was battling, you know what I mean? Like, let's say I wasn't the most active person over the weekend post our last game. I managed to sneak in a quick flight before my flight, and I couldn't really do much on captain's run because obviously I was less than 24 hours off the plane. So it was all a bit of a mishmash, and the boys were great. Like, to be honest, like the guys were great, and yeah, poor Mitch, he was like getting ready, had his notes out, had his headphones in, and I had to just wander over like, okay, like I was like, mate, I know this is not going to be normal, but I need to come to you every line. You just tell me where to go. Like, I was like, sweet. And then the worst part, not the worst part, it was just one of those things. Honestly, it's been a whirlwind. Obviously, I'm at the local motel just because obviously accommodation's a bit short. Couldn't find anything to eat on Friday night, so I had to get like a Chinese. So I ate that for dinner.
Sweet and sour pork?
And then, nah, chicken chow, mate. And then obviously they had like the old boys dinner on Friday, and then Tony come in and he said that was all good, and I was like, this is good. And then he like told a story about I think it was Kevin Hipia had come down in a similar situation, heaps of injuries, and he was walking around the field, and then Toddy gave him a real ripping, like, you know, you're down here with Crusaders, you don't like beep walk around the field. And all I was thinking, like, I was ready to stand up and apologise to the boys and be like, sorry, boys. I'm like, you know I'm going to be walking. Like, I'm be dead.
Oh, honestly, it's just such an amazing story, and it's so cool to celebrate your return to New Zealand, and hopefully you've got another couple of weeks. What a story would it be if you were able to pick up a Super Rugby title? But can we just go back to your career over the last 12 years in the UK and Europe, because it's been unbelievable. What are the things that stand out for you since leaving New Zealand?
Yeah. Well, obviously, like I never expected to be away for so long, and. I think me and Beaver, we left at the same time because he signed for Bath and I signed for Ulster, and we did this awards night in London to represent the ABs,
We did.
And so that was like a really good night too. But yeah, I was like, I'll go to Ulster, do my 3 years, and I'll be 30-something, and I'll retire. That's when guys retire. So I've done those 3 years, and then got a phone call. They're like, oh, look, Gloucester needs you. They got a deal for you. Okay, 4 years. And then I was like, 100% I'm going to finish this. I'm done. I'm 36. Like, nobody plays longer than us. Only the great Thorny. And then obviously Pat lands at Bristol, and he's like, mate, we need some props. Come down. You won't play. You'll just train. End up playing 90 games over 4 years. I was like, thanks, Pat. There goes my back. And then that was it. Like, I was like, I'll just stay in Bristol. I wanted to go to France for 1 year and made the decision to go to France just to live that life, you know. And Beaver was up there on holiday for, 8 weeks, and amazing places, the food's great, coffee's good, a lot of cheap red wine, and the weather can be quite handy as well.
And when you look at all that, Johnny, obviously you've been everywhere, you've played everywhere. What's coming back now? Was it a massive shift? Obviously, you've been at the height of European rugby with Bristol, obviously being great guns when you were there, and Ulster were fighting on Europe levels. You've come back from second division France and now straight into Super Rugby. Obviously, Super Rugby's taken a bit of a dip itself as far as where it is as a competition, because I guess we don't have the competition outside of New Zealand like we used to. What did you notice? I know you're only one game in, and you were probably just worried about making sure you survived. But was a noticeable change in pace?
Yeah, I think there was like a change of pace, and it was hard to tell. Like obviously playing the Tars, not like I knew where they were, but I don't think they were like actually like high up the table. So like I think, okay, this is not too bad. 10 minutes in, I'm feeling good. Set pieces okay, lineups are going good. But like that middle the middle 20 or that last 20 where things got real quite side to side. They're chucking the quick lineups, they're doing the counter from deep. Mo'unga's pulling strings, the boys are doing all the razzle dazzle, and I'm just like, someone run the ball out, like someone knock it on, please. And because there was no way I could come off. There was like a set time for Rubes on the bench. He was like, here's 30 minutes, and you have to get to 15. I was like at half time, I look at Sam and I was like, mate, you need to get me through this last 10 minutes, but whatever happens, just got to put it in. And then, I gave away the penalty and then I ended up like getting the shepherd's crook out, so that was fine.
You were pretty blimmin' good, though, your first 50 minutes back in such a long time. Nearly set up a try for Cody Taylor. How much Super had you watched over the last decade? And what did you think of some of these teammates that you're playing with? What did you think of Lester Whainganuku and his skills? What about Richie Mo'unga and these guys? How do they compare?
No, some of them are next level, isn't it? It's crazy what they can do. And I watched a lot of Super at the start when you leave New Zealand because you're all like Super Rugby this, Super Rugby that. And then as the years go on, it's like, it's too early in the morning, at 6:30, the Blues are playing at 5 in the morning, not going to wake that. But last year, because obviously I knew I was coming home soon enough, I was like back on the bandwagon, Blues, watching the boys in the morning, watching the games versus the Crusaders. And now to see the boys in real life, it's totally different. And one example from the weekend, we're in a bit of phase play. I was inside Richie, and he's like, I'll stay inside, for an option. I was like, okay. I turned my head, turned back. He is gone. Like, he was like, he's taken off, still standing there. And he always makes a half break. I was like, if only I was like 30 years younger, I might have been there. But
Oh, that is so good. He is quite brilliant, isn't he? John, before we let you go, Beavis told us a few stories about you two on the program, like the time you two went to 10 Downing Street as you were preparing to go to the Laureus Awards. Anything you can tell us about this guy?
Well,
careful.
The first thing I normally describe to people about Beaver, I can't say on radio, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. He's world famous about in the circus for it, but it's okay. I'll tell you one story. It's not amazing, but it's still like good old Beaver. We're playing counties under 15s, and then he's turned up with this absolute shocking haircut. And got the like scissors out, or he's got like the sheep shears out, and like gave him all these patches that meant to look like a fade. And I just remember thinking, I was like, I was poor, but I was ready to give him $5 to go to the shop.
Yes, for those that don't know, me and Johnny played age group stuff together until the checkbook came out from Auckland, and unfortunately, him and a couple other handy footballers left me all alone in counties, and they never returned. Curse, still breaks my heart to this day.
Oh, but look, he's back.
He did come to a certain school, I won't say the name, and did the big full tour, and did like, he was ready to come, but the rules changed. He didn't come. So like he gets that real quick. He was not to make that jump.
So instead of going to St. Kent's, he ended up at Wesley. Oh, so good to get you on, John. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure we'll catch up with you over the next couple of weeks as well as you strive towards those finals with the Crusaders.
That'll be it, yeah. And I'm glad just to be here and helping. They're on a big mission, 7 in a row. So, yeah, it's nice, like I said, after the game to see these guys in real life, and not just the players, but the coaching and the whole operation. It's a nice environment to be in and to learn from.
Well, it's so cool to have you back in New Zealand. It must be wonderful for your family as well. Thank you for your time, John. And all the best this week. No let up on the fast rugby because you've got a derby coming up this weekend in Wellington.
Oh, yeah. This is going to give me a heart attack. Like I am.
Oh,
Here's your
amazing.
week. In my head, I was like, that's it. I need 14 days to prep for that one. So, let's go ahead.
Just settle up next to Owie, mate. I'm sure he'll be keen to keep it at your pace too.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, I've jumped in, taken his, spot in the Crusaders, and then they're like, oh, what club do you want to sign up to? You have to sign up to a club. And I was like, oh, sign me up to Linwood, because I think that was Owen's club. So I'm taking his club spot and, keeping a seat warm for him at the Crusaders. So.
Brilliant. Hey, mate, thanks so much for coming on, and awesome watching on Saturday. And if we get a chance soon, we'll catch up for a beer, mate.
No, thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. John Afoa, the latest Crusaders recruit, 39 years young, 255 days, I believe. Now the oldest player in Super Rugby. Brilliant story, Beef. That is fairy tale stuff right there.
SENZ. It's Kiwi for Sport.